There's just something about the strain of Nadaswaram music, the slow cooking of prasadams, the smell of freshly melted ghee, stone ground sandalwood. Ah, it is something that appeals to all five senses, where one can see, touch, smell, taste, and hear. Welcome to Sacred Offerings, where we discover the poetry in food using these five senses. My name is Rakesh Raghunathan and I am from Chennai, India. I call myself a food traveler, food historian, singing chef, whatever it is, but I've spent the last few years around food, traveling to small towns and villages, talking to people from various communities, marginalized indigenous communities, and documenting their story, the story about their cuisine and just food, how it evolved. There is a lot that you can infer from looking into these recipes about how they would have evolved over a period of time of various conquests, cultural adaptations, and local culinary history. And with the recipes that I have collected, over 5,000 recipes, each of which that have a story to tell, I do thematic presentations on food where I actually get people to understand the nuances behind food and how to appreciate food in a way that it deserves to be respected. Food to me is love. It's an emotion. Every day I wake up in the morning, come down. Amma makes this nice hot cup of filter coffee. We sit on the kitchen counter and we just talk about what is the food that's going to be made today, about her childhood, about her grandmother, the kind of food that she ate growing up. So there's a lot of nostalgia, there's memories, and for me, at the stage where I am in, where I'm absolutely absorbed in food, this for me rekindles my love for food. Poring over these handwritten notes that's been passed down over several generations gives me absolute joy. For me, that is culinary history staring at me in my face, because the kind of thought process that has gone into the ancestors for putting recipes together and me exploring them all over again is something that I'm very, very fond of. Talking about food and its evolution, what has intrigued me the most is temple prasadam or temple cuisine. When you look at temple walls and inscriptions that have been there in Tirupati and Srirangam on the temple walls, what you can understand is not just the detailed manner in which the recipes have been given, but it's almost like a restaurant's SOP manual that talks about the utensils that should be used, the number of prasadams that should be made every day on particular days of the year, what kind of material the prasadam vessels should be made in, and going a little deeper into the Agama Shastra that was written, that talks about where your temple kitchen must be located, what kind of firewood should be used, where milk should be sourced from. So there is a lot of guidelines when you look at these temple inscriptions. Not just that, temple inscriptions also reveal kings and royal families donated heavily to temples. Not just gold and jewelry, but fully functional, economically viable villages. And what I mean by that is every village that they donated to the temple made money. There was a lot of revenue generation. So any first produce, rice, lentil, dairy, went to the temple. The temple in turn put it to use and made prasadams out of it and gave it back to people in the villages. So this was a self-sustaining, very, very happy sort of cycle that continued. If you look at temple prasadams made down south, they have a common ingredient. I mean, most of the prasadams have that ingredient, rice. South being the rice bowl of the country and the kind of indigenous rice varieties India at once upon a time had. That's not a surprise. But the unique bit is it's all one pot meal. I mean, take for example, Venpongal, curd rice, tamarind rice, lemon rice, different kinds of things that are made in huge cauldrons such that it is made and distributed to people in the villages in one shot. I mean, that was how temple prasadams were conceived. Today I'll be presenting Sacred Offerings, a unique thematic presentation on temple prasadams, food of the gods, while we go back in time to where it all began. Palland, palland, pallayirattand, palakodi nurayiram palland, palland, pallayirattand, palakodi nurayiram malland. Tintol manivanna chevadi chevittirukaapu adiyomodum ninnodum pirivindri ஆயிரம் பல்லாண்டே வடிவாய் நின்வல மார்பினில் வாழ்கின்ற மங்கையும் பல்லாண்டே வடிவாய் வடிவாய் ஜோதி வலத்துறையும் வடிவாய் ஜோதி வலத்துறையும் சுடராழியும் பல்லாண்டே படைப்போர்ப்புக்கு முழங்கும் அப்பாஞ்சஜன்னியமும் பல்லாண்டே 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 பல்லாண்டே. This was a verse that was written by Periyalvar, or Vishnu Chitta as he was known, which literally means someone who loved Vishnu. He was a devout Vishnu Bhakt, and the kind of emotions that he brought out in every verse is magical. Today's verse, Pallandu Pallandu, was actually a verse that he composed in the Koodaraivalli temple. And a little anecdote to that is he wins a particular poetry competition, and the king in Madurai at that point of time takes him on a procession around the streets. And at that point of time is when the Lord is known to have appeared above, and he sitting in that chariot wishes the Lord many thousand lives, and It's beautifully recorded as an inscription in the Koodaraivalli temple. This again is a 3-tiered temple that is very, very beautiful. Periyalvar, who happens to be the foster father of Aandal, is one among the Tamil saint poets called the Alvars. Aandal again grows up looking at her father, the kind of works, the literary works that he has produced. She is the only Tamil saint poet among the bastion of male poets among the Alvars. For those of you who may not be familiar with the term Alvars, they are 12 in number, who wrote extensively in praise of the divine Lord Vishnu in different temples, and every temple they visited and wrote, they are called the Divya Desams. They are totally about 108. So she grows up looking at her father, the kind of prowess he has for the language, the kind of admiration, the kind of love he has for the Lord, and of course is all in love about Rangamannar at Srirangam. That is a beautiful story that's about to unfold right now.